Hello everyone, this is your friend Shinobi Nexus 2.0. Welcome back to the channel. Enjoy the fanfic. And let's begin. Part 2. Naruto in Haku's room, dawn. Haku awoke from her sound sleep, the impact her head made with the wall of the room caused by the crashing waves below certainly contributing to this awakening. Slowly shifting to an upright position, Haku was immediately made aware of the disappearance of Naruto from his bed, prompting her to shake her head. He should be on the deck. Haku thought, getting off of her bed before leaving the room. That's where I would be, anyways. Upon reaching the deck, Haku's theory was proven true as she was met with the sight of Naruto, standing at the edge of the ship's fence. The blonde faced the outside of the fence, facing the rising sun above and the roaring waves below, with the azure sky and the slowly rising sun being reflected in the sea below before the reflection was dispersed by the introduction of several furious, crashing waves. Naruto stood perfectly still, his tattered kimono flowing in the distance, as the cloth usually tied around his eyes was gripped firmly in his hand. What is he doing? Haku asked herself, taking a few steps forwards. Now aware of her presence, Naruto contemplated for a few seconds, before hastily wrapping the cloth around his eyes, obscuring the burn mark around his left eye and the deep scar running over his right from the view of anyone. Naruto turned around, facing Haku's direction. Good morning, Haku brought up. Perhaps. Naruto replied, the business we'll be involved in later, however. There's nothing much good about that. Are you okay? Haku asked. You seem rather somber this morning. I'm holding up fine, Naruto replied, as he stepped into Haku's view, revealing that all wounds he had suffered yesterday were healed. We have about. Before Naruto was allowed to finish, the blonde was alerted to a large chakra present in Kiri, just as Kurama would be alerted to it seconds later. Kurama, do you feel that? Naruto mentally asked. Naruto. Haku asked. I feel that all right, Kurama growled. Isobu. Who? Naruto asked. The three-tailed beast, Kurama revealed. I am not glad to sense him here again. I wouldn't be, Naruto replied, considering he's housed in the Mizukage. I'd assume he's fighting in the loyalist faction. Be careful, Naruto, Kurama warned. I have no doubt he's sensed your presence by now. Kiri, loyalist camp. Yugura, a man of small stature with a head of messy light gray hair stood at the discussion table, surrounded by several scouts, generals, and Anbu members, among them regular Anbu and several hunter nin respectively. So, from our received intel, Yugura began to say, only to cut himself off and look into the distance. Mizukage-sama, a scout asked. That will be it for today, Yugura declared. I have some business to attend to. The men at the table bowed before Yugura, before collectively leaving his tent, leaving the Mizukage to his musing. A Jinchuriki, Yugura thought as he furthered his sensing of who this person was before his eyes widened. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki. I see. A Ronin has returned, be it with me or against me, no mere boy could stand against a god, Yugura thought, remembering the time he had once hired Naruto. Although, he might prove to be a problem, should he wield the power of the Kyuubi. Naruto and Haku, 30 minutes later. Having docked at Kiri's western harbor, home of Kiri's opposition. Sensing the presence of many shinobi in the area, Naruto and Haku walked into a camp belonging to the faction, sensing several pairs of eyes watching their every move, many of them having their hands on different weapons. What happened to this place? Naruto asked, sniffing the air as a thick mist filled the air. It reeks of blood. Perhaps I can provide some sort of explanation, came the voice of a young woman, one gentle in tone yet resolute in wording. My name is Meitarumi, and I can only assume you two are here to ease the resistance. Yes, Naruto replied, there is a paid mission to take up. There are many, Mei replied, but first, we need to take your name, rank, and village association. You can start. Me? Naruto asked. Yes, Is there a problem? Mei asked back. No. My apologies, my blindness makes it so that I can't tell who you're looking at, Naruto replied. My name is Naruto, and I'm a Ronin who has been in almost every part of the world, including Kiri. Yes, I am blind, but I am also a censor. I see. Mei began to say, what expertise could you bring to the table? Well, besides kenjutsu and sensory ability, Naruto began to say, before the civil war, Yagura had once hired me. All activity around the three froze on the spot, all shinobi in the area now turning towards Naruto. You're not joking, are you? Mei asked. Do I seem like someone who jokes? Naruto asked back. In that case, I have just the mission for you. Mei began to say, before turning to Haku. How about you? My name is Haku Yuki, and a few years ago, my entire family was murdered here, Haku began to say. A swordsman who once attempted a coup here took me in before he met his doom about a week ago. Oh my, Mei began to say, was it part of the purges? Sadly, no, Haku revealed, my father attempted to kill me, and in my defense, I awakened my bloodline. I see, Mei replied, what kind of mission would you like? I have a request, Haku stated. Oh no, Naruto thought, already predicting the nature of Haku's request. And that is? Mei asked. I would like to go on the same mission as Naruto, Haku replied, to Naruto's dismay. Granted, Mei stated, come with me, we'll discuss this mission in my tent. 1 second, Naruto spoke up, I would like a moment in private with Haku. Mei nodded, as Naruto walked into a private corner with Haku. Do not go on this mission, Naruto requested. What? Haku asked in disbelief. Why? It's too dangerous, Naruto replied. That's it, Haku asked back, it's dangerous. You are going on the same mission, you know. That's more of a reason for you to not go, Naruto replied, I make every mission dangerous. It'll be fine, trust me, Haku urged, turning to leave, only for 2 chakra chains to wrap around her right arm. Please, don't go, not on this one, Naruto pleaded. Why, you scared? Haku asked. I'm not, Naruto brushed off. You probably are, considering how you're acting. Haku stated. Fine, Naruto yelled, I am scared. I always am, especially after knowing you. I can't have someone close to me die again, not like this. Oh my, Haku murmured, the chains around her right arm loosening, I never knew you thought of me that way. I do not, Naruto stated. Why lie to her? Kurama asked. Shut up, Kurama, Naruto mentally yelled as Haku reached out her hand, only for Naruto to dodge out of the way. I'm sorry, but anyone who loves me, or even forms that sort of relationship with me, is bound to die. I do not wish to go through that again. It'll be fine, Haku urged, come on, Mei-san is waiting for us. Fine, Naruto relented, just promise me, you won't do anything brash. You're the one who always pulls that sort of stunt, Haku replied. Naruto sighed, before walking into Mei's tent with Haku. Inside the tent, many different maps with different division markers on them were littered across the many different tables, while Mei stood at the largest table. Glad you two could make it, Mei spoke up, come over here for a moment, Haku, I'm sure I can trust you to interpret. That's fine, I have an understanding of where things are in Kiri, Naruto urged, just state the location, and state the description of our duty. Alright, Mei replied, truthfully, the resistance does hold a significant advantage over the loyalist faction. We have their camp encircled and have almost double the number of shinobi, but shinobi of both sides are running low on morale, and if we do not end this civil war quickly, it could spark a conquest or incursion from a foreign nation, considering how both Konoha and Kumo are poised to strike. But based on how you have yet to deal the final blow, Naruto began to say, obstacles are halting your armies, isn't there? Indeed, Mei replied, the first, and main issue is Yagura's presence. Not a single one of our shinobi can stand up to a perfect Jinchuriki, let alone one that holds no value for any sort of human life. The second is an incredibly potent series of fortifications surrounding their base. However, this can be overcome. And I'm umming, this is where I come in. Naruto replied. You mean, we? Haku whispered. Precisely. Mei replied, in an hour, you two will be joined by Team Ao before your combined forces will attempt to storm the fort before our armies march into the loyalist camp. That's good and all, but first, Naruto began to say, tell me, how did this civil war begin? Why is that important, if I may ask? Mei asked. I'd like to know as much as possible about what I'm fighting against, Naruto replied. To cut a long story short, Mei began to say, Yagura had been elected during a time of incredible instability, and had done a great deal to reform the village. This all changed one day when Yagura announced a purge. He started with the council, publicly executing every member of it, before moving on to highly ranked shinobi and bloodline users. Being both a decorated general and a bloodline user, I launched a putsch, of sorts, and my supporters clashed with loyalists in the village square. Weeks later, the water daimyo declared neutrality to our situation, and a needless spilling of blood thus began. I see, Naruto replied, something isn't right. No one person has a sudden change of heart that easily. Naruto turned to Mei. So, you're saying that Yagura went from a great reformist to the greatest tyrant the shinobi world has ever seen within a day? Yes, Mei replied. It must be it. Naruto thought. He must be controlled by someone. More than likely, an Uchiha. But who, specifically? Naruto turned to Mei, before bowing slightly. I believe we should head to the strike point, Naruto stated. We'll report to you when we return. Should you return? Mei corrected. On the way to the strike point. You sure you want to go on this mission? Naruto asked. You know, for someone who claims they'll never be able to love again, Haku began to say, you sure would be a good partner to have. Maybe, maybe not, Naruto stated. Believe me, Haku replied, I'll be fine. Actually, I have a question. Naruto asked. You wanna go on a date after this mission is done? Haku asked, surprising Naruto. I don't think I can, Naruto replied, you already know why that is. Alright, Haku muttered, clearly disappointed. I won't stop asking. He may not see it, but he desperately needs to move on. Before anything bad happens, or before he loses himself. 30 minutes later, Ao paced up and down the field. He was currently awaiting the arrival of 2 volunteers who were to join in his team's ult of the fortress. It went without saying that Ao had felt rather skeptical when he first received the news, but upon hearing of the presence of the famous Ronin who prowled the lands, victory had become all but guaranteed in Ao's mind. Where are they? Ao thought as he looked into the distance, noticing 2 figures in the mist. Perfect. Are you Ao? Ao the all-seeing? Naruto asked. That I am. You must be the Ronin, Ao replied. It's an honor to meet you. You hold quite the reputation yourself. Naruto replied. But let's not delve into a full-on conversation here, Commander. We have some gruesome business to attend to, don't we? Indeed we do, and thank you for your help, Ao began to say, before turning towards Haku. Thank you as well. Miss. Just Haku will do, Haku replied. Regardless, we must prepare ourselves, Ao stated. You two are aware of the plan, right? Codename, Naruto asked. Operation Downfall, Ao revealed. To win the war, one has to cut off the head of the snake. 5 minutes later, on my signal, Ao ordered, holding a hand up, before giving a countdown. 3. Haku thought, holding up 2 senbon in each hand. 2. Ao spoke up, holding a kunai. 1. Naruto mentally counted, preparing to leap into battle. Upon hearing Ao's order, Naruto leapt out onto the open field, gaining the attention of several loyalist shinobi. Without further hesitation, Naruto rushed towards a small concentration of shinobi, dodging several slashes and kunai coming his way, before leaping over a shinobi and extending 2 chakra chains from his sleeves. Landing on his feet, Naruto flung his arms forward, plunging the sharp tips of his chains into a shinobi before ducking under a slash from behind. What the? The loyalist shinobi muttered, only to be quickly silenced by a bone-crushing punch from Naruto. Suddenly, a hunter nin made himself known to Naruto, leaping upwards before slashing at Naruto, only to be incapacitated midair. Tsusenban plunged into his neck. Before Naruto was able to thank the ice user, he found himself immediately occupied again, intercepting a kunai from another loyalist shinobi. This is becoming unsustainable, Naruto thought as he flung his free arm towards Haku's direction, the chain plunging itself into and incapacitating a shinobi behind her. I'm just gonna head for the tower. With a clear goal now set in his mind, Naruto dashed towards the direction of the fortress, as several loyalist shinobi dashed towards him in response. Not being able to spare much time to slow down, Naruto brushed past several slashes and kunai, enduring several small cuts and wounds. Well, that just worked, Naruto thought, running towards the fortress only to sense the presence of several more shinobi running towards him. Spoke too soon, didn't I? Before the shinobi were able to launch their attacks towards Naruto, the blonde pulled out several kunai explosive tags tied to their ends, before flinging the projectiles towards the group of shinobi, causing a large explosion to erupt, allowing Naruto a free route into the fortress. Inside the fortress, sensing the presence of many shinobi scattered throughout the building, Naruto placed a new Oni mask over his face, before unsheathing Muramasa, its blade illuminated with a soft, blue glow. Naruto moved swiftly, blade in hand, as he began his infiltration of the fortress. As if he were a force of nature, Naruto slashed at the many guards and shinobi in the building, causing several unsettling screams along the way. I'd better move quickly, Naruto thought, it's only a matter of time until they reinforce this fortress. Although, the shinobi all seemed to be conscripts. Brushing off these thoughts, Naruto climbed the ladder to the next floor, only for a clenched fist to connect with his face. What the? Naruto thought, rubbing his cheek. Where? There was no one there, was there? Ignoring this for the moment, Naruto rushed towards the shinobi in the room, slashing away at the men, staining his once brightly colored kimono with their crimson-red blood. A few slashes later, Naruto turned towards the last shinobi standing in the room, a boy no older than 13, one who shook in his spot upon laying eyes on the blonde, the latter wiping the blood from his face. Without sparing a further look, the shinobi turned around to flee, only for a chakra chain to wrap around his left ankle, before dragging him towards Naruto. No, please. The shinobi pleaded, mercy. Naruto withdrew his chain, before turning around, sensing a mirror image of his past in the shinobi's unfortunate situation. Run, Naruto stated, go to the resistance, and tell them Naruto sent you. The boy nodded, before running away, only for another shinobi to grab onto his wrist. Naruto turned around, sensing the presence of many other shinobi, all of whom had arrived from the upper floor. Fool, a shinobi started to say, do you not know how we deal with deserters? No, Naruto yelled, only for the shinobi to push the boy out of the window, left to plummet to his death. As for you, Ronin, the shinobi began to say, you have come far further than you should have, and we'll have to put you down, right the place you stand. Naruto said nothing, forming several seals before forming a final seal, as Muramasa's blade flared to a blazing red glow. Uzumaki's secret technique, Naruto mentally said, his rage clouding his judgment, nocturnal embrace. A form of total darkness shrouded the floor of the fortress, as Naruto's grip over Muramasa tightened. Without further warning, Naruto dashed towards the dazed shinobi, slashing at all shinobi present, tearing through the blinded men one by one, before arriving at the shinobi who had pushed the boy out of the window, just as Naruto's technique faded away, allowing the utter carnage around Naruto to become apparent to all. Before the shinobi was able to react, Naruto crushed the man's wrist, before holding him over the ground below. Not sparing the man any further mercy than that the shinobi had granted the boy, Naruto dropped the man, leaving the shinobi to plummet to his fate below. Finally, Naruto thought, no longer sensing the presence of any shinobi in the fortress as he climbed to the top floor. You know, a sinister voice rang through the air. I could have sworn the Kyuubi Jinchuriki had perished 3 years ago. What? Who are you? Naruto demanded to know. Me. The voice asked, appearing as a masked figure standing before Naruto. My name is Madara Uchiha. Impossible. Naruto replied, dashing towards the figure. You're dead. Naruto threw a punch, only for his attack to seemingly phase through Madara. Look at yourself. Madara began to say as all of Naruto's attacks phased through the ghost of the Uchiha. You claim to be a mere Ronin. Do you still claim that you Jinchuriki are not monsters? Take a look around you. Take a good, hard look. Look at the lives you've ended here today. Look at what you've done. Before Naruto was able to respond, Madara faded from the building, leaving Naruto to ponder what Madara had just said. Before long, Haku and Ao came up to the floor Naruto was standing on. Good job, Ronin, Ao acknowledged. Naruto nodded softly, before leaving the building, followed shortly by Haku. Naruto and Haku, open field. I'm a monster, Naruto said to himself, dropping Muramasa onto the ground. You're not a monster, Haku replied, walking towards the blonde. You did what you had to. I murdered them all, Naruto muttered. What I've done to them. None of them deserved it. They were merely fighting in a war they didn't want to fight in. Naruto, Haku began to say, you're not a monster. Naruto fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face as Haku ran to his side. I've betrayed the ideals that were once instilled within me. Naruto murmured, I've betrayed the ideals of the one I've once loved. And I've betrayed the foundations on which I've based my beliefs. You always wanted to know why. I tie this cloth around my eyes, didn't you? I do, but what does that have to do with this conversation? Haku asked. Naruto said nothing, unraveling the cloth around his eyes, before allowing it to fly away in the wind. Without further hesitation, Naruto turned to Haku, who was allowed to lay eyes on Naruto's for the first time, now knowing firsthand why Naruto had never shown her what was underneath the cloth. Naruto began to say, hey, even now, I still have the same poor interpretive abilities. I always say how I'll never love again. But, these wounds alone, these scars, these relics of a past I've long since put behind me. They are the sole guarantors that no female would ever want to merely entertain the idea of kissing me, let alone forming any sort of relationship with me. I would kiss you, Haku muttered. It's too late for excuse me. Naruto began to say, only to cut himself off. If it would help you get through your problems. Haku began to say, I have no problem with kissing you. Your scars do not define you, your character does. You are not a heartless monster nor are you a cursed individual, but a person who does his best in tough circumstances. Hell, you even did your best to help me out of a tight spot. I'm sorry, but I'm too far gone for that, Naruto replied, picking up Muramasa. It's never too late, Haku urged. Before Naruto was able to reply, the blonde lifted his head, before turning towards Haku, pushing her out of the way before unsheathing Muramasa, intercepting an attack from Yagura, one dealt by the sharp, crescent-like curve of his staff. Finally, Yagura began to say with a maniacal grin on his face, you've turned up, Ronin. Open field. I'm sorry, but I'm too far gone for that, Naruto replied, picking up Muramasa. It's never too late, Haku urged. Before Naruto was able to reply, The blonde lifted his head, before turning towards Haku, pushing her out of the way before unsheathing Muramasa, intercepting an attack from Yagura, one dealt by the sharp, crescent-like curve of his staff. Finally, Yagura began to say, a maniacal grin plastered upon his face, "You've turned up, Ronin. You have no idea just how long I've waited." Haku looked up from the ground, placing her eyes on the clash between Naruto and Yagura's respective weapons, many sparks flying uncontrollably through the air. Noticing the lack of headway made against his opponent, Yagura placed both of his hands on his battle staff, forcing Muramasa to come inches from Naruto's face, with the crescent-shaped blade of Yagura's weapon scratching the surface of the skin of Naruto's neck, a small wound being inflicted as a result. "What's wrong, Ronin? Or should I say, Kyuubi Jinchuriki?" Yagura mocked, before cackling madly. "Can't stop me, can you? I need to do something soon." Naruto thought, "I've got it." An idea now in his mind, Naruto grabbed onto the staff's center, before beginning to push back against the tyrant. Taking this push back as her cue to east Naruto, Haku readied 3 Senbon, before launching all 3 at Yagura, one of the needles plunging itself into the Jinchuriki's neck. Now mere inches away from Yagura, Naruto flung his head forwards, landing a headbutt onto the 4th Mizukage's head, forcing him back. "Last chance," Yagura stated, "join me, or face the wrath of a god." "What is a god to a non-believer?" Naruto asked in response, cracking his knuckles and loosening his joints. "Fine," Yagura began to say, pulling the Senbon from his neck. "You want to play? Let's play." Naruto prepared himself, slipping into his Kenjutsu stance, Muramasa's blade now glowing with an azure blue luminance. Without further warning, Yagura dashed towards Naruto, leaping into the air, spinning his staff before slashing downwards with its hooked blade. Milliseconds away from contact with the blade, Naruto flicked his head to the left, avoiding an attack onto his head at the cost of suffering a cut on his arm. Enough dodging, Naruto thought, time to bring this back. Ducking under another attack from Yagura, Naruto retaliated, slashing back at Yagura, only for his slash to be intercepted by the tyrant. Undeterred by this, Naruto pushed forwards, launching several quick slashes against Yagura, only for his attacks to either be intercepted or avoided entirely. "What's the problem?" Yagura sneered, "Can't hit me." Ducking under another slash, Yagura spun his staff, before slamming the blunt edge of the staff's lower hook into Naruto's torso, launching him back a significant distance. Knowing full well that he couldn't afford to be knocked off balance, Naruto plunged Muramasa into the ground, halting his movement backward entirely, taking a knee to create more friction between himself and the ground. "Giving up so soon?" Yagura taunted, dashing towards Naruto. "I'm just getting started." "Not quite," Naruto replied, taking his hand off Muramasa's handle before flinging them forward, wrapping Yagura with 2 separate chakra chains from each hand. "As you said, we're just getting started." Locking Yagura dead in place, Naruto lifted his arm, before Haku sped through several hand seals, causing the mist in the air to begin condensing into many droplets of water, before the droplets of water began to freeze and solidify, before gathering in Haku's open palm. "Let's try this technique," Haku thought, as the concentration of ice in her open palm blackened in color. "Ice release, Black Dragon Blizzard." Thrusting her open palm forward, an ether-like black dragon bearing red eyes and teeth materialized from the concentration of ice before launching itself towards the constricted Yagura. Before the dragon was able to make contact with the Jinchuriki, Yagura broke out of Naruto's chains, before leaping into the air. "Too slow," Yagura mocked. "Is it now?" Haku asked. Haku lifted her right arm into the air as if coordinating the dragon's movements. Suddenly, the ice dragons accelerated in speed, before shifting its direction upwards, crashing into Yagura with great force, causing the Jinchuriki to land back onto the ground with a great crash. Taking this as a brief moment of respite, Haku rushed towards Naruto, intending to check up on the blonde. You alright? Haku asked. I'm fine, Naruto replied. Don't know how long that's going to last, though. As if agreeing with Naruto's statement, a large shockwave was experienced in the area, as Yagura vanished from his last seen location before reappearing in front of the two, sending a punch that launched Naruto a great distance back. Yagura stood over his downed opponent, a translucent red shroud of bubbles much akin to those of boiling liquid encapsulating the Jinchuriki. Naruto! Haku yelled, yet remaining still, her mind running as fast as it could to come up with a solution. As fun as this has been, and as strong as you may be, Yagura began to say, no mere boy stands against a god. And unless you choose to no longer restrain yourself against me, that shall remain a fact. Yagura lifted his clenched right fist, before repeatedly pounding away at Naruto's face, causing Naruto to cough up blood upon first contact. Seeing his opponent now as vulnerable, Yagura lifted his staff, before slashing downward with the staff's larger hook, only for Naruto to vanish from sight, as Yagura's maniacal grin widened even more. I was wondering when you would use it. Yagura cackled, turning towards Naruto, the blonde now encapsulated with the same shroud that encapsulated Yagura. Now then, let's see what you're made of. Naruto said nothing, the glow of Muramasa's cutting edge shifting from its prior azure blue to a blazing red luminance. Without further exchanges of dialogue, the two Jinchuriki dashed towards each other, their movements appearing as blurs to the inexperienced eyes of most shinobi. With the fury of the Kyuubi behind him, Naruto slashed at the tyrant, landing his first successful attack as he inflicted a small cut onto Yagura's shoulder. Fast, that's for sure, Yagura thought, ducking under and dodging several swift attacks from Naruto in rapid succession. Time to take this up a notch. Rapidly spinning his staff once again, Yagura formed a circular pool of water in front of Naruto, one which perfectly reflected the blonde's movements. Disregarding this, Naruto slashed forward, only for his slash to be intercepted by a perfect copy of himself. What the? Naruto began to say, only to get punched in the face by the clone of himself generated by the mirror. Your display was impressive, and possessed the strength and ferocity of a Jinchuriki. Yagura murmured, placing the tip of his staff against Naruto's exposed neck, but I'm afraid this charade has come to an end, for you and the girl. Yagura looked up, only to notice the sudden absence of Haku. Taking his opponent's moment of bewilderment as his opportunity, Naruto placed his hands on the ground of which he lay, using his arms as a springboard, launching himself upwards and kicking Yagura in the jaw, knocking him back and forcing him to drop his staff. A clear advantage now obtained, Naruto restarted his unrelenting ult upon his enemy, dispersing the clone of himself with relative ease before dashing towards Yagura, slashing at the tyrant and inflicting a miv gash across the Jinchuriki's torso, causing blood to spill and Yagura to fall to the ground. He won't be down for long. Naruto thought, I'd best re-coordinate my plan. Naruto, came Haku's voice, as the ice user pulled Naruto through a mirror to a different location from the one he was standing in prior. You ready? Naruto asked. Always, Haku replied, prompting Naruto to leap into the mirror in front of him. Picking his staff up from the ground of which it had laid upon moments prior, Yagura was quickly interrupted upon the introduction of an ice mirror behind him, before an impact was made to the back of his head by Naruto's foot, before Naruto disappeared into another mirror, seconds before Yagura would come to be surrounded by many crystalline mirrors. Before he had been able to react, Naruto reappeared out of another mirror, slashing Yagura in the back before disappearing into another mirror. Too fast. Yagura corrected his former statement. The situation quickly made itself clear to Yagura. The upper hand he had held at the start of their skirmish was no longer present, and Naruto had escalated the conflict to a dangerous extent. As Naruto inflicted another cut onto the Jinchuriki, a clear conclusion was made in Yagura's head. He simply was unable to continue the battle as it was now. It did not matter if he could theoretically match every single one of Naruto's attacks should he not be able to react to them in time. Yugura now knew what was needed of him to not lose this duel. He needed to escalate further. Something's wrong, Naruto thought in between one of his attacks, sensing a MIV spike in chakra. What Naruto had been doing amounted to nothing more than mere guerrilla attacks, which clashed with his samurai training and his honor, but in this duel, the blonde allowed that to slide for the moment being. Exiting the mirror to slash at Yugura once again, Naruto was given a rude awakening upon the connection of his face with Yugura's fist, launching him onto one of the mirrors, shattering it into many pieces. Yugura stood over his opponent, himself now encapsulated by a dark red layer of concentrated chakra, with something akin to an exoskeleton forming around the Jinchuriki. Knowing he now stood no chance against the tyrant, Naruto attempted to leap into a mirror, only for Yugura to catch him by the ankle, before launching him into another mirror, yet again shattering it into thousands of tiny shards. You should be honored to be in the presence of such a divine form of mine. Yugura all but growled, before launching himself at Naruto yet again. Yugura lunged at the blonde, only for Naruto to barely roll to the left, narrowly dodging the attack. Attempting to make the most of his disastrous position, Naruto unleashed many chakra chains from his sleeves, wrapping them around Yugura in an attempt to constrict the tyrant, only for Yugura to burst out of the chains and land a brutal punch square onto Naruto's face, shattering the blonde's nose. Naruto frowned. He had severely overestimated his chances of survival, let alone victory. Haku. Haku shot up from her sitting position, sensing that all her mirrors had been shattered. Now knowing that Naruto was in trouble, Haku rushed towards the site of Naruto and Yugura's battle. Upon her sudden arrival, Haku's worst fears about the situation were proven true, as a heavily wounded Naruto landed in front of her. Naruto! Haku yelled, kneeling to check on the blonde. Haku! Naruto croaked up, coughing up blood as he did, run. Before the ice user was able to respond to the blonde, Yugura leapt in front of the two, grabbing Naruto before launching him into the side of a mountain, shattering the structure under the impact of the crash. Now, Yugura began to say, turning towards Haku. It's your turn. No one has to die here today, Haku replied. Tough, it's a war, Yugura sneered, and you two shall be the latest victims of it. Before Yugura was able to follow up on his threat, two chakra chains flew past the tyrant, who took a step back seconds before they were visible. You never learn, do you? Yugura mocked, grabbing onto the chains before yanking at them, causing Naruto to come flying towards Yugura. I'll teach you to respect my heavenly presence. A mere child shall not desecrate my legacy. With the blonde now at his mercy, Yugura began his merciless assault against Naruto, pummeling him rapidly before raising his staff. Still hanging on, Naruto unsheathed Muramasa and began to parry the tyrant's attacks, causing many bursts of sparks to light up the dark environment. Suddenly, Naruto failed to parry one of Yugura's blows, only for the tyrant to disarm him, before restarting his furious assault, mercilessly beating on the blonde with his hooked staff. Haku! Naruto began to say in between hits, blood being drawn from every wound in his body. Run, please. You should worry more about yourself, boy, Yugura sneered, throwing Naruto aside before turning to face the blonde. Yugura began to spin his staff, as water chakra accumulated at the larger hook of his staff. And now, you shall receive my judgment. Yugura yelled, launching a heavily pressurized bolt of water towards the blonde. Naruto tried to rise to his feet. The blonde attempted with all his might to place his hands on the ground, only for these efforts to be in vain, forcing him to fall flat on his face, accepting his fate. Suddenly, a mirror emerged before the blonde, before Haku stepped out of it, taking the full brunt of Yugura's attack. No! Naruto yelled, crawling towards the heavily wounded Haku. Haku coughed up blood, before turning to look at Naruto. Hey there. Haku stammered. Hey, Naruto replied, holding back tears as he placed his hand over Haku's largest wound, attempting to stop her bleeding. I'm sorry. This is all my fault. No, Haku replied, it's not your fault. It's my fault, Naruto stated, I caused all this. No, I jumped in front of you, Haku replied, her voice gradually losing its usual livelihood. And I wouldn't have done anything differently. No, Naruto muttered, realizing the uselessness of his efforts. No. In the end, I'm glad to be here with you, Naruto. Haku began to say, placing her hand on Naruto's cheek, it was all worth it. I'll end this, Naruto promised. No, Naruto, you won't kill Yagura, Haku replied, you're not a monster. And I love you all the more for that. Finishing her statement, Haku's eyes slowly shut, as her hand fell lifeless to the side, fulfilling Naruto's fears. Haku, Naruto whispered, tears streaming down his face, come on, Haku. Don't do this. Not like this. Haku's heartbeat slowed, as Naruto tried his best to channel whatever chakra he could into Haku's wound in an attempt to seal it. Before long, Naruto lifted his hand, gently placing Haku's lifeless body onto the ground before he turned to face Yagura, the blonde's body now shrouded in a coat of dark red chakra, with 4 visible tails being manifested. As the dust settled, Naruto vanished from view, before striking Yagura in the stomach, visibly injuring the tyrant. A god, are you? Naruto growled, before throwing a right hook at Yagura, one which connected cleanly. Let me show you a monster of your creation. Not allowing Yagura a chance to respond, Naruto dashed towards the tyrant, landing brutal attack after brutal attack upon the transformed Jinchuriki, not allowing a chance for Yagura to retaliate. His tyranny and destruction have gone too far now. Naruto knew he had to be stopped. With these thoughts in mind, Naruto increased the flow of Kurama's chakra through his veins, the coat of chakra around his body becoming ever darker in color as Naruto back-kicked Yagura into the fort he had raided earlier, sending him crashing through the fort. Naruto, calm down, Kurama advised, this isn't like you. Ignoring Kurama for the time being, Naruto roared into the air, before launching himself at Yagura, slashing at the tyrant's face before throwing a forward strike against Yagura, catching the transformed Jinchuriki in the stomach, impaling the tyrant, and drawing blood. So, God, Naruto began to say, pulling his arm out of Yagura's chest, how does it feel to bleed? Yagura snarled as a clear heartbeat rang across the land, the newly inflicted wound on his chest quickly patching itself up, as a large shockwave created by chakra pushed Naruto back a few inches. Would you listen to me for a moment? Kurama yelled, snapping Naruto out of his murderous thoughts, he's going through his transformation. Do you have a solution? Naruto mentally asked. You remember that seal I taught you? Kurama asked. If so, you need to find a way to apply that to his abdomen. The fully transformed Yagura roared into the night, his miv turtle-like appearance towering over Naruto, who turned to fact Yagura, or now as he was, Isobu. The fully transformed Yagura opened its mouth, as a large sphere consisting of Isobu's concentrated chakra began to form, before launching itself towards Naruto, who manifested a 5th tail behind his back, an exoskeleton forming over him. With the tailed beast ball nearing direct impact with him, Naruto ducked out of the way, avoiding the attack which would collide with the mountain behind him, destroying it in a large explosion. Isobu roared, leaping up into the air, forming his body into the shape of a spiked ball, landing back onto the ground in front of Naruto, before rolling towards the transformed blonde with rapid speeds, his spiked outer shell beginning to tear up several tons of the girland of which it rolled. The eye, Kurama yelled as Naruto grabbed onto one of Isobu's spikes, strike his eye. Sensing around for a bit, Naruto placed his feet onto a spike, 2 arms consisting of Kurama's chakra being manifested to ease his climbing of the Miv Biju, with Isobu not noticing what had been happening. Upon locating the eye, Naruto grabbed onto a spike with his left arm, his two chakra arms holding onto other spikes as he pulled back his right arm. Without further delay, Naruto smashed his clenched fist into the eye of the foul beast, incurring a pained cry followed by the toppling of Isobu. Naruto leapt off of the beast, as it flipped itself onto its shell, unable to get back to his feet. "Do it now," Kurama yelled. Taking this as his cue, Naruto reverted to his regular form, before running through several seals and leaping off of the mountain he had been standing on. Landing on the Biju's stomach, Naruto slammed his open palm onto the beast's abdomen, before leaping onto the ground facing Isobu. Before long, Isobu's chakra vanished from Naruto's senses. The blonde retrieved Muramasa, before turning to Yagura, who had now reverted into his human state. "Do you intend on humoring me, Ronin?" Yagura asked, raising his hooked staff. "Or do you simply underestimate me enough to not utilize the Kyuubi's power?" "Right now," Naruto asked, raising Muramasa, a blazing red glow encompassing its cutting edge. "Right now, I just want to kill you myself." "You may have sealed off Isobu," Yagura began to say, dashing towards Naruto, "but a mere boy is no match for a god." With the momentum of his dash supporting him, Yagura swung his staff at the blonde, who stepped out of the way of the blow before striking back, landing a blow from the bottom of Muramasa's handle onto the tyrant's head, knocking him to the ground. Instead of continuing his rapid ult, Naruto allowed Yagura to get to his feet, the latter readying himself as he did. Yagura dashed towards the blonde once again, who managed to dodge every single one of his attacks without fail, before landing a punch square onto the tyrant's face. "Stop mocking me," Yagura yelled, throwing his own punch, only for the blonde to dodge it with ease. "I'll stop when you give her back," Naruto yelled, striking Yagura in the face with a roundhouse kick. The one-sided battle continued, with Naruto repeatedly pummeling Yagura, whose face had since become bruised and bloodied by the countless amounts of strikes dealt to it. Finally, an opportunity presented itself, one which Yagura seized to plunge the hooked end of his staff into Naruto's stomach. The blonde grit his teeth, before slashing at the staff with all his might, cutting it clean into two before jumping into the air and throwing an elbow strike at the tyrant from his right shoulder, knocking Yagura to the ground onto his knees, who could do nothing but watch on helplessly as Naruto came before him. Naruto came before the tyrant, spending no further words as he lifted Muramasa, before positioning himself to behead Yagura right there and then. Resigned to his fate, Yagura looked on as Naruto swung his blade, only for the killing blow to never be delivered, the cutting edge stopping inches short from contact with Yagura's neck. Naruto turned his head to the side, a hand placed over his to stop his blow, before feeling it once again, her chakra. "That's enough, Naruto," came Haku's voice, "you've won. That's good enough. How are you?" Naruto began to say, tears once again forming in his long blinded eyes as Haku placed his hand onto her wound. "You saved me," Haku replied, revealing that the wound had been sealed. Without a second word, Naruto dropped Muramasa, before turning away from Yagura. Suddenly, Haku held onto the blonde's shoulders, before pulling him close to her face before placing her lips on his. "I thought I lost you," Naruto murmured, breaking the kiss. "So, you gonna say it?" Haku asked. "What?" Naruto asked back. "The thing you always said you wouldn't say." Haku asked once again. "Well," Naruto replied, pulling Haku into another kiss. "I love you, Haku-chan." "Okay, that, chan, in the end was unnecessary but I liked it anyway," Haku replied. Naruto nodded, before turning back to Yagura, before raising his blade once again. "Do you surrender?" Naruto asked. "You think that just because you bested me, that any of this will change?" Yagura asked. "Take a look around you, Uzumaki, take a good, hard look." Look at all the death and destruction you caused. A hidden location. Hey, Madara muttered with a smirk, before vanishing. Well played. Open field. Before Naruto was able to plunge the full length of Muramasa into Yagura's neck, the blonde paused for a second. What is it? Haku asked. What happened? Yagura asked as if he were a completely different person. Naruto. Naruto nodded before Yagura took a look at the environment around him. What have I done? Yagura questioned, looking down onto the ground. It wasn't you, Naruto urged. I have failed my people. Yagura stated, I have failed my village. Kill me. I can't, Naruto replied, it's not my right. Fine, Yagura began to say, grabbing onto Muramasa's blade, I'll do it myself. Before Naruto was able to react, Yagura dashed into Muramasa, impaling himself on the blade of the sword, ending his life immediately. Naruto shook the tyrant, only to get no response in return. I didn't mean to. Naruto began to say, I didn't. It's all right, Haku urged, holding Naruto in her arms, it's not your fault. Before the blonde was able to respond to that statement, he found himself ping out due to sheer exhaustion into Haku's arms. 1 week after Operation Downfall, Naruto slowly came back into consciousness, finding that a breathing apparatus had been placed over his mouth and nose, several tubes attached to his right arm and legs, as well as the bandaging many injuries he had incurred in the fight against Yagura. Lightly sensing the area around him, Naruto immediately noticed a sleeping Haku, one who had her head laid upon the same bed that he had been lying on. Putting 2 and 2 together, Naruto removed the apparatus from his face, before placing a hand atop Haku's head and ruffling her hair, waking her up. Naruto. Haku mumbled, lifting her head before shooting up to hug Naruto. You doing alright? Naruto asked. Are you alright? Haku asked back with tears in her eyes. Don't you dare pee out on me again, you hear me? Do you have any idea how worried I was? Hey, Naruto replied with a soft chuckle. What's so funny? Haku asked. This, Naruto stated, lifting Haku onto his hospital bed before kissing the ice user. MMPF. Haku attempted to protest, before breaking the kiss, a blush spread across her face. It's a hospital. Are there no curtains around my bed? Naruto asked. Not at all, Haku replied, causing the blonde to frown slightly. My apologies, Naruto stated, but you sure you didn't want to? Haku sighed, before smiling softly. How could I ever resist? Haku asked, before pulling Naruto into another kiss. May I remind you too that you are still in a hospital? Came the voice of Mei, prompting both Haku and Naruto to immediately break their kiss, before both turned towards Mei. My apologies, Mei-san, Naruto replied. That's Mizukage-sama to you, Ronin, came the voice of a boy around Naruto's age. Come now, Chojuro, Al began to say, that's no way to compose yourself, besides, he's been unconscious for a week, he wouldn't have known of any recent developments. I apologize, Mizukage-sama, Naruto corrected himself, I take to it that you've won the war. Not I, Naruto-san, Mei began to say, it's we won the war. And thanks to our efforts, I've now ascended the role of Mizukage, and am heading a provisional government before our village is capable of holding elections once again. That's great news, Naruto replied, before turning towards Chojuro. Chojuro, was it? Yes, Naruto-san, Chojuro began to say, stepping forwards. You can give me back my katana now, Naruto replied. Chojuro nodded, before ping Muramasa to Naruto, a sheath forming over its blade as Naruto held onto its handle. Amazing Chojuro. How did that? Chojuro began to ask. Chakra, Naruto replied, sitting upright, am I discharged yet? That's probably not for the best, Mei advised, but who am I to judge? You are free to leave whenever you want. Again, thank you, Naruto-san, and thank you as well, Haku-san, I'll be taking my leave now. Naruto and Haku nodded. Before Mei, Ao and Chojuro left the hospital. Can we leave now? Naruto asked. Up you get, Haku replied, holding onto Naruto's hand as she helped him to his feet. Can you stand all right? I'm fine, Naruto replied, before giving Haku a quick kiss. Now I feel better. Alright, Haku stammered, let's get out of here. 2 hours later. Does it look beautiful? Naruto asked as he and Haku sat atop a tall mountain overlooking a slowly descending sun. Believe me, it does, Haku replied, I just wished you could see it too. About that, there is something I've been keeping from you, Naruto began to say, placing a hand atop Haku's shoulder, getting Haku's attention. My eyes are slowly healing, and will be fully healed in a few days or so. Does that mean? Haku began to ask. I can finally see you, Naruto replied, holding onto Haku's hand. What about the world around us? Haku asked. There's no point in only seeing me if you do not see everything else there is to see, is there? If the world had anything else worth seeing, perhaps I would. Naruto began to say, but I sense a lot, I can feel the torment in the elemental nations, I can sense the pain and hatred of all living within it. And I sense you, the only thing that I consider truly beautiful in this world. That's sweet of you, Naruto-kun, Haku started to say, pulling Naruto's face close to hers. Seconds before the pair were able to make out, a cloud of smoke appeared next to the two, interrupting their shared moment. Good grief, Haku thought, that's the second time today. As the smoke dispersed, Haku quickly noted the strange appearance of the creature that had caused the smoke, just as Naruto had sensed the sage chakra that had emanated from the creature, a small toad with a pair of goggles around his neck. My name is Kosuke, the toad announced, holding up a scroll. I have an urgent message for Naruto Uzumaki. Alright, Naruto replied, receiving the scroll. May I know who sent this message? Before Kosuke was able to respond, the toad vanished into a cloud of smoke. Let's just get this over with, Naruto stated with a sigh, pinged the scroll to Haku. Could you read it out loud? Of course, Haku replied, opening the scroll before beginning to recite its contents. For the eyes of Naruto Uzumaki only. So much for that one, Naruto commented, earning a chuckle from Haku. To begin this letter, Haku began to read, I cannot state how glad I was to hear about the news regarding your survival from Kakashi, and although I am personally sorry and hope you can put my mistakes behind us, I cannot see a way you forgive Konoha for their sins. As such, this will be a personal request and not a village request. I, Hiruzen Sarutobi, and not Konoha, ask that you attend the final stage of the Chunin exams, which is 3 weeks away as an observer. Among others, the Kazekage will also be attending the finals. You do not need to accept, as it is your choice to make, not mine. Yours truly, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Haku put down the scroll, before turning towards Naruto, the blonde seemingly deep in thought. You don't want to go, do you? Haku asked, to which the blonde nodded. I've long since forgiven Hokage-sama, Naruto admitted, but I can never think of myself stepping back into Konoha, not again. Not after this, Naruto stated, pointing towards his blinded pair of eyes. But, I have to admit, I want to visit the old man again. Especially with his life inching away from him, I see the most respectful choice as me returning to visit the man who looked after me as a child. Perhaps for the last time. There's a but, isn't there? Haku asked. I'm worried, Naruto replied, I do not want to face the inhabitants of Konoha again. And I'm worried what they might do to you for mere association with me. Then do not go as Naruto Uzumaki, Haku replied, go as the Ronin that is feared and revered by the elemental nations. Are you sure? Naruto asked, are you sure you want to go? Kiri is your home after all. No, Kiri isn't my home. Kiri hasn't been my home for many years now, Haku replied, standing up before pulling Naruto to his feet. There's nothing here for me anymore, my home is wherever you choose to go. Well then, Naruto continued, offering Haku his hand before turning around. Let's get ready to hop on a boat to Konoha and leave, shall we? Let's go, Haku replied, accepting Naruto's gesture. That night, accompanied by Ao and Chojuro, Mei stood at the docks of Kurigakure with the intent of seeing off Naruto and Haku. You've done well in your choice, Haku, Mei acknowledged. I bid you two eternal happiness together. Thank you, Mei-sama, Haku replied, bowing slightly. You'd better get stronger, Chojuro. Naruto stated, when I return. Let's have a little duel. Of course, Chojuro replied. You know what? You're already a fine swordsman, have more confidence in yourself, Naruto encouraged. Of course, Chojuro replied. Farewell, Ronin-san. Call me Naruto, Naruto replied, before turning to Ao, can't exactly duel you. I suppose a sensing competition will suffice. Hey, you've become quite the joker, haven't you? Ao asked. I'll see you soon, Naruto-san. Naruto nodded, before turning towards Mei, who held a piece of cloth in her hands. You left this on the ground the other day, Mei stated, tying the cloth over Naruto's eyes. There you go, hope you don't mind this small gesture, Haku. It's fine, Mei-sama, Haku urged, just don't get too touchy. I assure you, I will not, Mei replied, before turning back towards Naruto. You hear that? She cares deeply for you. You two are the most compatible pair of people I've seen so far in my life. You'd better take good care of her, and if you dare break her heart, let's just say that the consequences for you will be dire. Naruto gulped, before nodding his head. For what it was worth, Naruto could sense that Mei did not appreciate cheaters. You have my word, Mei-sama. Good, Mei replied. Kurigakure owes you two the greatest debt it ever could, and you two are most definitely welcome back here anytime. On behalf of my village, I bid you two farewell. Naruto and Haku nodded, before leaping onto the boat to Konoha. Walking into their room, Naruto unwrapped the cloth from his face, dropping Muramasa on the floor before sitting on the side of the bed. Suddenly, Naruto leapt up as Haku sat on the bed. What? Haku asked. Is there only one bed? Naruto asked back. I mean, you had no problem kissing me in the middle of a hospital, thus embering the both of us. Haku replied. I think we're past this argument. Fair enough, Naruto replied, sitting back down onto the bed. You should get some sleep. I wanted to try something first. Shouldn't you also get some sleep? Haku asked, lying down on the bed. I've been sleeping for a week, Naruto replied. I doubt I can sleep anymore. Fine, Haku relented, adjusting her pillow, just don't stay up too late. Naruto walked over to her side, placing the blanket over her before placing a soft kiss on Haku's forehead. No promises, Naruto replied, as Haku slowly fell asleep. I promise you, father, mother, Mifune-sensei, Akane, I will protect her, even if it does cost me my life. That's something new coming from you, Kurama stated. And look who decided to show up after a week, Naruto mentally replied. Listen, it had more to do with you overusing my power than anything else, Kurama replied. You knew damn well what were the consequences of using that form were, and yet you still went for it. Guess I shouldn't be too mad, you're moving on at least. Anyways, I wanted to try something, Naruto replied, as he picked Muramasa up from the ground. Just then, when Chojuro ped me Muramasa, it was in its usual unsheathed state, yet when I held onto its handle and channeled chakra through it, a sheath materialized from the sword itself. Hasn't that been happening for years now? Kurama asked. That's true, but that got me thinking. Naruto began to say, as he unsheathed Muramasa, only for another sheath to take its place upon his thinking of a sheath, the initial sheath vanishing from the ground. Wouldn't that technically mean I can shape it into another weapon? That, Kurama began to say, that's a good question. Think of it this way. Channel the chakra into the blade the same way, but instead of a sheath, you think of a type of weapon that you know how to use. A kusarigama, Naruto thought as he unsheathed Muramasa, before channeling chakra into the katana. Naruto's chakra flowed through Muramasa, feeling its handle lengthening as its blade curved and shortened, with a large weighted segment dropping on the ground, one connected with a long chain. It worked, Naruto thought. Katana. Sure enough, Muramasa morphed back into its original state. Fascinating, Kurama replied, you should probably get some sleep though. Fine, Naruto replied, sheathing Muramasa before leaning it against the wall. Naruto walked towards the bed, before lying down on it and tucking himself under the blanket as a sleeping Haku lay next to him. For whatever reason, Naruto felt compelled to allow her as much space as she desired on their shared bed. Naruto laid down on the bed for a bit, before turning towards the sleeping Haku and allowing sleep to consume his consciousness. The next morning, Naruto slowly came back into consciousness, lifting his head from the pillow it laid upon. Sensing the room, Naruto immediately turned towards Haku, softly placing a hand on her cheek, lightly brushing aside the hair which framed her face, prompting the ice user to smirk. I know you're awake, Haku-chan, Naruto replied. I know you knew, hence why I didn't wake up immediately, Haku replied, sitting upright. Sure you did, Naruto teased. I did, Haku replied. Whether you did though, that's in question. Oh, shut up, Naruto joked. Make me, Haku mocked. My pleasure, Naruto replied, placing a hand on Haku's chin before pulling his face towards hers, as many times as you want. Before the two were able to continue, a loud knock on the door interrupted the two of them, much to their chagrin. Seriously, Haku asked herself, third time in these 2 days. Good grief, Naruto thought as a voice spoke up from the other side of the door. Naruto-san, we will be arriving at the Land of Fire's port in 5 minutes or so, the voice stated, please gather your belongings and prepare to leave the ship upon docking. The voice was cut off, as several footsteps could be heard away from the door. We'll never have our moment, will we? Haku asked with a tint of disappointment in her voice. If you want, we could go on that date you always wanted to go on in Konoha. Naruto offered, causing Haku to lighten up immediately. Really? Haku asked, excitement clear in her voice. Where? Land ho, the captain announced as Naruto and Haku walked down the Konoha. A certain ramen stand that I used to be rather fond of, Naruto replied. Konoha's gates. Who is this person we're supposed to escort? Rado asked. Waiting at the gates of Konoha, who could be so important that they get to take their damn time? Probably some foreign noble who Hokage-sama has invited, Genma replied. Even so, what could take them this long? Rado asked back. Be patient, Rado-san, Neko, or Yugao is known to a few, replied, the Hokage has considered this guest to be of vital importance. You know what that means, Rado, Hayate mentioned, coughing upon finishing his sentence. Although, it is strange to think that a noble would be invited 3 weeks from the actual finals. Probably because I'm not born of any noble blood, came Naruto's voice as he appeared in front of the shinobi with Haku, surprising all 4 present. What the? Yugao thought, drawing her sword. Where did he? Hayate thought, drawing his katana. You again, Rado yelled, his black blade emerging from a cloud of smoke. This might be trouble, Genma thought, forming a single-handed seal. You don't want to fight me, fellas, Naruto advised, drawing Muramasa. I wonder what Hokage-sama would do if he found his guest murdered. How do we not know you're lying? Yugao asked. Rado, you know me best. Well, sorta, Naruto replied, drawing Muramasa. I don't lie, do I? To be fair to you, you never have, Rado admitted, but we'll take our chances. So be it, Naruto stated, as Haku drew 6 Senbon in each hand. You ready for a fight? Of course, Haku urged, before leaping into an appearing mirror, seconds before the mirror vanished. What the? Rado began to think, only for a fist to connect to his face, knocking him to the ground. Naruto landed back on the ground, before ducking under a slash from Yugao, only to immediately jump over a slash from Hayate. Thinking fast, Naruto moved to engage Hayate, clashing with the Jonin before backflipping into a mirror. Suddenly, Naruto reappeared behind Yugao, slashing at the Anbu, a slash which Yugao barely managed to intercept with a parry. Before either shinobi were able to react, the mirror vanished, only for 3 Senbon to plunge themselves into Hayate's upper leg. I just want to talk to the Hokage, relax. Naruto urged, plunging Muramasa into the ground. Look, I'll go with you guys to see Hokage-sama, and we'll see what he has to say about this situation. Reluctantly, the 4 shinobi agreed, before escorting both Naruto and Haku to the Hokage's office. Hokage's office, 2 minutes later. Hiruzen sat at his desk, pipe in his mouth as he signed several documents issued to him. The elderly Hokage sighed. He could feel his life slipping away from him more and more every day that passed. Before Hiruzen was able to delve deeper into his thoughts, Yugao appeared in front of his desk. Hokage-sama, Yugao began to say, he's here. Seconds later, Naruto and Haku entered the room, Hiruzen's eyes lighting up upon the sight of the boy he had once failed to protect. Thank you, Neko, Hiruzen replied. Yugao nodded, before vanishing from sight, as Naruto scanned the room for any form of chakra. Without warning, Naruto extended his hand towards the bookshelf to his left, a chain leaving his sleeve as it tore through the wooden shelf. Seconds later, Naruto withdrew the now blood-stained chain, with blood flowing out of the newly created hole in the shelf. That wasn't an Anbu, right? Naruto asked, moving the shelf as a lifeless body fell to the ground. Hiruzen observed the Anbu, noting the dead man's blank mask. That's an Anbu, just not one of mine, all right, Hiruzen replied. My apologies, Hokage-sama, Naruto apologized, stepping away from the body, but could you ask your Anbu to leave? To the shock of the observing Yugao and Tenzo, Hiruzen nodded in agreement, prompting Yugao and Tenzo to leap down from the rooftop. You can't be serious, Hokage-sama. Tenzo protested, this man is clearly dangerous and unstable. He holds quite the reputation as well, Naruto added on. Are you questioning your Hokage, Tenzo? Hiruzen asked back. We're merely worried for your safety, Hokage-sama, Yugao urged, and we do not know the full extent of the Ronin's intentions. It's fine, I trust him, Hiruzen urged, if it makes you two any better, I invited him here. The 2 Anbu members nodded, before leaving the room, moments before Naruto placed a silencing seal on the door of the room. You've grown quite a bit, Naruto, Hiruzen began to say, how have you been? Quite fine, Ojiazan, Naruto replied casually, surprising Haku quite a bit, just been struggling with a couple of things. No big deal, how have you been? To be frank, not good, Naruto, Hiruzen replied, I'm ailing. I feel my life draining away every day I wake. But, am I glad to see that you're still alive. For what it's worth, I'm sorry, Naruto. It's fine, Naruto urged, I forgave you a long time ago. I just can't ever bring myself to forgive this village. It's your path to walk, never let anyone decide it for you, Hiruzen advised. Anyhow, what is your name, miss? Haku Yuki, Haku replied. I see, I suppose you're the kunoichi whom Kakashi mentioned that Naruto had taken into custody 2 weeks ago. Hiruzen asked. To a certain perspective, yes, it is true, Haku replied. As much as I hate to ask. How has Konoha been? Naruto asked. Struggling, to say the least, Hiruzen replied, Suna has broken the alliance, many of our tributaries are now in open rebellion, former trade partnerships we once had have now cut all communications with us. Iwa is poised to attack, Kiri had just finished its civil war, and Kumo has been engaged in several border skirmishes with our shinobi forces. But I assume some sort of agreement was reached with Suna. Naruto asked. That's right, Hiruzen replied, the Kazekage agreed to a form of rapprochement, which took the shape of their participation in this Chunin exams, in which all 3 genin they sent have made it to the finals. But with Kiri staying neutral, I see a 4th shinobi war on the horizon. Orochimaru has also returned. Funny story, I actually fought Orochimaru, Naruto replied, kicked but hey, I got the scroll of sealing from that. I heard, thank you for that, Hiruzen stated, before turning to look at the clock. I suppose you two won't mind staying with me and my grandson Konohamaru. We won't mind, Haku urged, thank you for the offer, Hokage-sama. Hokage's office. Now with the first topic of discussion settled, Hiruzen began to say, there is a second topic I would like to inquire about. And that is, Naruto asked, your status in the bingo book. Hiruzen replied, ping a copy of the bingo book to Haku, you aren't exactly the most well-liked person here in Konoha. And why is that? Naruto asked as Haku flipped through the book. Care to read the reasons, Haku-san? Hiruzen asked. Well, besides the I nations on behalf of other villages, Haku began to say, you have also been charged with arson, random termination of contracts, espionage, destruction of vital infrastructure, I nations of foreign leaders, I nations of military leaders, attempts to provoke a war between 2 nations, and etc. Quite the portfolio you have. Well, all for the job, I suppose, Naruto replied. That's not all. Hiruzen continued, the civilian council especially isn't very happy that you haven't been accepting contracts offered by Konoha, nor the offers to be integrated into Konoha. That's for obvious reasons, Naruto scoffed. The civilian council doesn't see it that way. Hiruzen stated, the shinobi council is neutral in this matter, due to the positive they gain of a weakened civilian council during debates, while they, especially the more traditional military generals amongst them, don't necessarily like the idea of a Ronin who prowls the lands without allegiances and working for the highest bidder. How is that my problem exactly? Naruto asked. Also, does it have anything to do with that mission Genma, Rado and Aoba went on a few weeks ago? Mission? Hiruzen asked in surprise, what mission? Those 3 tried to get the land of T to sign a treaty with Konoha, Naruto replied, at that time, I was pinged by the land of T to get to Kiri. Hiruzen gave it a moment of thought, before sighing to himself, concluding his thoughts in regards to Naruto's statement. Those damned fools. Hiruzen muttered, I had not approved that mission, it must have been one of the elders. Before Naruto or Haku were able to respond, an Anbu appeared in the office. Hokage-sama, the Anbu began to say, a council session has begun, your presence has been requested in the chambers. That's convenient, Hiruzen replied, standing up. Where's your house, Hokage-sama? Naruto asked, picking up Muramasa. Ronin-san, the Anbu continued to say, your presence has also been requested by the council. Well, that changes some things, Naruto replied, I'll be going with Hokage-sama. The Anbu nodded, before vanishing from sight. Well then, Naruto, Hiruzen began to say, taking a puff from his pipe before placing the Hokage's hat over his head, let's hope you two are ready for literally anything. Council chambers. Entering Konoha's council chambers, Hiruzen walked towards the Hokage's seat, with Naruto and Haku following behind him. Upon taking his seat, the Hokage was met with thunderous applause from the other members in the chambers. What is the meaning of this session? Hiruzen asked, prompting an elderly man to pay a list to the Hokage. Here you are, Hokage-sama, Homura stated, before bowing and returning to his seat. I see, Hiruzen muttered. This will be the main topic for discussion, however. I will be adding a few more during tonight's session. Let's start with those, Hokage-sama, Homura suggested. HMPF, Hiruzen scoffed, as you wish. First of all, who the hell allowed a mission to the Land of Tea? Land of Tea? Homura asked, to the shock of everyone in the chambers. The Ronin you all hate so much can provide a testimony, Hiruzen replied, to which Naruto stepped forward. That wouldn't be necessary, Hokage-sama, Koharu stated. We do not listen to the words of someone as treacherous as he. Are you questioning your Hokage? Hiruzen challenged, making Homura and Koharu pale in response. Please begin. Well, we must first start with context, shouldn't we? Naruto asked, to which Hiruzen nodded, prompting Haku to tap Naruto on the shoulder. Well, a while ago, I fought Orochimaru and returned the scroll of sealing to Kakashi. Impossible, a civilian counselor yelled in protest. Team 7 got it back by themselves. Did they now? Naruto asked, who told you that? Well, the same counselor began to say, finding himself embered by the Ronin. Now let me continue, Naruto began to say. After that, Haku and I left the Land of Waves, en route to Kurigakure, and in doing so, we had to enter the Land of Tea to use its docks. There, I encountered Rado, Genma, and Aoba, the three of whom were seemingly attempting to establish a tributary over the Land of Tea. After that, I left the Land of Tea, so who knows if they succeeded. The council room fell into a deathly silence before Hiruzen stood up. So, would any one of you three like to come forward with who approved the mission? Hiruzen asked, or should I have to send all three of you to Ibiki? I did it, Danzo revealed, earning many gasps and looks of disbelief from all present in the chambers. Why was that? Hiruzen questioned. To further secure Konoha's already dampening international influence, Danzo replied without a moment of doubt, and to ensure Konoha's defense from outer invaders, such as Orochimaru, who has reappeared in Konoha as of recent, which brings me to a question I have, Ronin. And that is? Naruto asked. Why involve yourself with Konoha's issues? Danzo asked. Why would you risk your life to take the scroll of sealing from Orochimaru? Honestly, I have no idea why I did it, Naruto replied. Take it as a sign of goodwill, I suppose. Another question is formed from this, Danzo continued. Why do you not take contracts from Konoha? And why do you not want to join Konoha or any other village for that matter? For that first question, I just cannot bring myself to steal business from Rado, or any one of my other contemporaries who operate in this region. Naruto began to explain. As for that second reason, I do not want to be affiliated with any village, and I do not want to be subservient to any village. I simply want to operate as an independent entity. Konoha is willing to pay a great price for you to join this village. Danzo enticed. No thanks, Naruto replied, a hint of anger in his voice while still maintaining his overall polite mannerism. In that regard, Danzo began to say, you do realize your status of having a high bounty on your head in our village. In that regard, I am suspending his bounty throughout his trip here. Hiruzen interjected, the bounty will continue upon his departure. In any regard, Naruto cut in, do whatever you want to me, kill me, kidnap me, try to injure me, I don't exactly mind. Naruto gestured towards Haku, but try to even attempt any action against Haku here. And I can promise the ones who try a pair of missing hands from the wrist up. Is that a threat? Homura asked. No, you old fool, Naruto continued, it's a promise. You dare? Homura asked. You will treat us with due respect, you bastard. And you will know your place. Try me, Naruto stated. Anbu, Homura called out, as two Anbu members appeared next to him. Defeat the two of them, and then we'll talk. Hokage-sama, am I allowed to take this fight? Naruto asked. Do as you wish, Hiruzen replied, use all force necessary. Naruto nodded, before stepping forwards onto the chamber's wide floor. With the entire chamber watching his every move, Naruto turned towards his two intended opponents, before slipping into his stance. Without further warning, the two Anbu members dashed towards Naruto, unsheathing their swords as they did so. Naruto took a deep breath, before ducking under a slash from one of the Anbu, before kicking the second oncoming Anbu in the neck, stunning the Anbu and separating his two enemies. Without a hint of doubt evident on his partially visible face, Naruto dodged a slash from the first Anbu, before hitting the man in the chin with a palm strike, forcing him back and causing him to drop his sword. Remarkable. Hiashi, the head of the Hyuga clan, thought as he observed the battle. His facial expression shows neither a hint of doubt nor an ounce of fear. Danzo observed. He has become more powerful than I could ever have imagined. Hiruzen thought, I'm sure you must be proud, Minato. Seizing his opportunity, Naruto caught the falling blade by its handle, before intercepting a slash from the second Anbu. Pathetic, Naruto muttered, as he reversed his grip over the katana. Clashing for a few seconds, Naruto tightened his grip over the katana, before disarming the second Anbu. As the katana spun across the air, Naruto caught it by its handle, before pointing each katana against the throats of the two Anbu. Is that enough? Naruto asked. Is that all you are capable of? Having seen enough to justify his intended actions, Danzo raised a finger, prompting 6 blank masked Anbu members to appear and surround Naruto. Danzo, Hiruzen asked in shock, what is the meaning of this? Sorry, Hiruzen, Danzo began to say, I'm merely securing our prize. HMPF, Naruto muttered, dropping both katanas before knocking out the two initial Anbu members, finally something interesting. With the 6 root members now surrounding him, Naruto smirked, before unsheathing Muramasa, its blue light illuminating the chamber floors as the 6 root members rushed towards him. As if to send a message to Konoha, Naruto placed his Oni mask over his face, before vanishing from sight and launching his ult, his slashes only being evident by the blue traces of light left behind. Before long, Naruto reappeared behind the root members, leaving behind one single horizontal trace of light. An impressive display of swordsmanship. Danzo began to taunt Naruto, as the blonde removed his mask, but it was all in vain, wasn't it? Just give it a second, Naruto replied, placing the Oni mask in his robe's pocket. Naruto spun Muramasa before a sheath appeared over it. As Naruto placed Muramasa back in its holster, the 6 root members fell to the ground with pained shrieks, many of their limbs being severed as blood splattered across the floor. His job now done, Naruto walked back towards Haku. We're done here, Naruto stated as he and Haku began to walk out. We're not done with you yet. Homura yelled. Hokage-sama will decide to that, Naruto replied, looking towards Hiruzen as he did. They are allowed to leave, Hiruzen stated as Naruto turned towards the door again, I'll be sorting the rest of you out, however. Let's go, Haku, Naruto whispered, walking out of the chambers with Haku as he did, let's go get dinner. Where? Haku asked. Remember that ramen stand I mentioned? Naruto asked. Ah, Haku murmured, you remembered your promise. Of course I do, Naruto replied, removing his glove before offering his hand, now then. Shall we? Ichiraku ramen. My apologies that this place doesn't look the most luxurious. Naruto whispered as Haku guided him to a seat, this place has some of the best food in the elemental nations. I'll hold you to that, Haku replied as she took a seat next to Naruto. What can I get for you two tonight? Came the kind voice of an old man. One large miso ramen with extra pork. Naruto replied without hesitation. Interesting order. The old man muttered, I haven't received that order in 4 years. Come to think about it, that customer was also blonde. What can I get you, miss? I'll have what he's having, Haku replied. Are you sure? The old man asked. Yes, Haku asked. All right, the old man replied, just making sure. If you need anything, just call out the name Tuki. Thank you, Naruto replied as Tuki ran to the kitchen. What did you just order to have Tuki-san be so worried? Haku asked. Well, it's miso ramen with pork, Naruto replied. As for why he was so worried, you'll see. Before long, Tuki returned with 2 large bowls of ramen, leading Haku to immediately conclude why Tuki had been worried prior. Thank you, Naruto spoke up. No problem, Tuki replied, it's rather nostalgic for me to make this particular order again. That young man who had once ordered this would come in daily. And then he just vanished. I guess I should probably reveal myself, Naruto thought, removing the cloth wrapped around his eyes and revealing the large scar on his right eye and the burn mark surrounding his left eye, leading Tuki to gasp in realization. I'm touched, old man, you remember me so well. Naruto, Tuki asked in amazement, is that you? Right down to the bone, Naruto replied. How have you been? Tuki asked, still unable to fathom Naruto's sudden reappearance. I've had my ups and downs, Naruto admitted, but for now, I'm doing alright. I'm a rather famous Ronin now. Has no one ordered this since I last ordered this? Well, no one quite has your appetite, Tuki stated, why come back now? Well, it hasn't exactly been my first time back here. But I don't exactly want to have my identity known, Naruto replied. I understand, Tuki replied. Well, I'll leave you two with your meal. Thank you, old man, Naruto replied before Tuki walked away. I'm not sure I can finish this, Haku admitted, picking up her chopsticks. You'll be fine, Naruto replied, picking up his chopsticks. With their chopsticks in hand, Naruto and Haku placed their palms together, before bowing to each other. Before he was able to begin eating, a familiar chakra approached the two. Before long, Naruto pointed his chopsticks upwards, before catching a kunai that had launched itself towards them by its handle. Seriously, can you two not behave civilly without Kakashi babysitting you two? Naruto asked. I'm here too, Kakashi mentioned. Good, can you keep them in line? Naruto asked. Sasuke, Sakura, please behave, Kakashi requested. They're not here to start any fights. Just leave them be. Fine, Sasuke replied, taking a seat. Well, it tastes quite nice, Haku admitted in surprise. You see, Naruto replied while chewing. What did I tell you? Yeah, Haku replied, you were right. Hey, guess you could say that, Naruto replied as Kakashi turned towards him. So, Ronin, Kakashi began to say, what brings you here? Hokage-sama invited me, Naruto replied, setting his chopsticks on his empty bowl. I'm here as a dignitary to watch the final stage of the Chunin exams. Make sure you watch Sasuke's fight, Sakura cut in, maybe you'll learn something. When I can see, I will, Naruto replied. As for now, I'm content with my pre-existing knowledge. Oh really? Sakura taunted. Did you know Sasuke survived the Forest of Death? Cool, Naruto replied nonchalantly. I beat Yagura last week. With the 3 present members of Team 7 left gaping with his last statement, Naruto and Haku stood up, before heading towards the counter. Upon paying the bill and leaving a generous tip for Tuki, the two left the ramen stand. I'm sorry for the way we were interrupted, Haku-chan, Naruto stated. I'll make it up to you, I promise. No need for that, Haku replied with a smile as she held onto Naruto's hand. I know you will. You always have done so. Have I now? Naruto pondered. Have I always lived up to my promises? Have I? Oh, just stop it with that depressing stuff, Haku replied, locking Naruto in a kiss before pulling away seconds later. For what it's worth, you make me happy, and you always try to do that. And I'll always love you for that. Hiruzen's house, an hour later. Sorry for how long it took us to get here. I'm not the best at directions. Naruto said. It's alright, Naruto, Hiruzen replied, leading Naruto and Haku into a guest room with 2 beds inside. You two will be staying here if you don't mind. Of course not, Ojiazan, Naruto replied. Guess old habits die hard, Haku muttered, commenting on Naruto's address of the Hokage. Hiruzen chuckled, before leaving Naruto and Haku alone in their room. We'd better get some sleep, Naruto whispered, tossing his cloak on the hanger before laying on the bed on the left. Gonna make some room for me? Haku asked, crossing her arms playfully. Isn't there another bed? Naruto asked. You've got a problem, Haku asked back playfully. Fair enough, Naruto replied, moving to the side and allowing Haku to lie next to him. Sweet dreams, Naruto-kun, Haku whispered, before the two fell asleep. Early next morning, waking up while the day was still young, Haku found herself waking up alone in her and Naruto's shared bed. Already having a strong umption of where Naruto may be, Haku walked out of the room and towards the backspace of Hiruzen's home, where Naruto could be seen standing on the shaking branch of a tree, slashing into the air while pretending to parry several oncoming slashes, maintaining perfect balance as he did so. How are you doing that? Haku asked. Practice, Naruto yelled back, also good morning. Good morning, Haku replied, are you gonna come down here? In a few more minutes, Naruto replied, slashing away into the air. We'll see about that, Haku murmured, outstretching her arm. What do you mean by whoa? Naruto began to say, before being cut off. As if on command, the air around Haku's arm condensed and solidified into ice almost immediately, forming a sort of tendril that wrapped around Naruto's leg before flinging him down onto the GR below. How'd you do that? Naruto asked in amazement. I don't know how I did it specifically. Haku began to explain as she helped Naruto up, I just always thought that it was possible. And hey, it worked. Clever, Naruto replied. Is it that difficult to do what you did just now? Haku asked. You can try, Naruto replied. Haku nodded, before walking up the tree onto the branch. Cautiously stepping onto the outer parts of the branch, Haku found herself soon falling onto the ground below, only for Naruto to catch her halfway. See what I mean? Naruto asked. I even held Muramasa when I went up. Fine, you win, Haku pouted, now let's go get some breakfast. But I want to keep training. Naruto protested. Choose to do that, and I'll make sure you'll never train again, Haku threatened. Alrighty, Naruto stated hurriedly, let's go get some breakfast. Later that day, I'll be leaving for a bit, Naruto began to say, kissing Haku on the forehead. Ah, Haku replied with a pout. Trust me, I'll be back soon. Naruto urged, I'll just be out for a bit. Fine, but you'll be cuddling with me for the rest of the day. Haku replied as Naruto nodded before leaping out of the window. Didn't get a chance to say it. Naruto thought, leaping across tree branches, but I do not oppose that plan one bit. Half an hour later. Damn it, fell again, Naruto thought as he brushed the leaves off of his robes. How the hell do I accomplish this? Naruto sighed, before trying again, only to break one of the branches, causing him to fall flat onto his face. I'll go see if Hokage has anything for me to do, Naruto thought, before leaping towards the Hokage's office. 2 weeks later. Must I? Naruto asked, a hint of boredom in his voice. Of course not, Naruto, Hiruzen replied, but I would like it for you to help Ebisu train Konohamaru today if you don't mind. Fine, but if he acts like a brat, Naruto began to say, I will be sure to humble him. That's fine, he needs to learn some semblance of humility anyways, Hiruzen replied, I condone it. Alright then, Naruto replied, where would he be? I'd say the academy, Hiruzen replied, thank you for your help, Naruto. Words cannot express my gratitude. Well, had Haku-chan not suggested it, I wouldn't have even considered it, Naruto stated, before leaping out of the window and heading towards the academy's direction. Academy. Where is that other instructor Gramps said he was going to send? Konohamaru asked, kicking his legs up on the desk. Please calm down, honorable grandson. Ebisu urged, he should be arriving shortly. HMPF. Konohamaru brushed off, crossing his arms, whoever he may be, he'd better be worth my time. Well, I wouldn't know what your standards are. Naruto began to say, appearing behind Konohamaru, for my standards, however. I very much doubt that you are worth my time. Huh? Konohamaru asked in shock, turning his head towards Naruto. Watch your mouth when you speak to the honorable grandson, Ronin. Ebisu stated, running over and grabbing Naruto by the collar. What a laughable chakra presence. Naruto thought, flaring his chakra slightly, as this Konoha standard for a Tokubetsu Jonin. Feeling Naruto's sudden burst of chakra, Ebisu let go immediately, before stumbling onto his back, seemingly in fear of Naruto. Where are we taking Konohamaru? Naruto asked, a bored tone in his voice. The hot springs, of course. Ebisu replied, pushing his glees up, it is but the best place for Konohamaru to practice his chakra control. Pervert, Naruto thought, before sighing and walking towards the exit. Fine then, let's go. Hot springs. This is the best you've got to teach chakra control? Naruto questioned, sensing Ebisu touching the hot water before moving over to peek at the other gender's corner. Yup, the water here is just right. Ebisu stated. Then care to explain why you're staring at the female section? Naruto asked, walking on the water over to Ebisu. Wah no. As if I would ever do such a shameful act. Ebisu argued. Yeah. Naruto began to argue back, only to be taken off guard by the introduction of a large chakra presence in the area. This chakra, it's from a strong shinobi, no doubt about it. Here. Hey, Ebisu called out, tuning Naruto back into the real world, I do not know who you are. But I will not allow such shameful acts in my presence. Konohamaru, go to the counter. Naruto advised, pushing the boy towards the building as Ebisu was flung out of the hot spring. But why's that? Konohamaru asked. Tell me. Why? I need to take care of a bastard first, Naruto stated, his tone colder than anything Haku could have conjured. Heeding this warning, Konohamaru ran to the counter as Naruto stepped toward the shinobi. What? The shinobi asked, stepping toward Naruto, are you here to fight as well? You aren't fazed at all. That's interesting. Very well, I shall impart upon you the true nature regarding my identity. Naruto shrugged in disinterest, wrapping his fingers around Muramasa's handle. Listen carefully, the shinobi began to say, before flailing his body around and making strange maneuvers, I am the man who is unmatched in the north, south, east, and west. Unmatched even in the heavens. I am one of the Sanin. Even a crying baby would stare in awe of my greatness. I am the great Jiraiya. And I don't give a damn, Naruto replied, before unsheathing Muramasa, its blade illuminated with a blazing red glow. You can't be serious. You believe that you can take me on? Jiraiya asked in disbelief. Maybe not. But then again, Naruto began to say, before slipping into his stance, I need to punish an irresponsible godfather. What are you on about? Jiraiya asked. You aren't my godson. He's been dead for years. And yet you still wonder why. Naruto replied, before slashing at Jiraiya, the latter only barely dodging the slash. Okay. Something's wrong here. Jiraiya thought, before having to dodge another slash from Naruto, he's moving way too fast to be an ordinary shinobi. Jiraiya narrowed his eyes, before widening them again upon sensing the presence of an eerie chakra. That sword. Jiraiya was snapped out of his thoughts when one of Naruto's slashes landed, forming a small cut on his face. That sword is alive as well. Jiraiya thought in shock, before pulling out a kunai. Without hesitation, Naruto slashed at Jiraiya while dashing past him, cutting clean through the kunai while leaving Jiraiya unscathed to show his perceived superiority at the moment where Jiraiya still has yet to fight seriously. I can feel it, the chakra of the tyrant. Jiraiya thought, sensing the presence of Yagura within Muramasa as his summoned toad immediately was dispersed by Naruto. There's no doubt about it. This is the one who killed Yagura. 1 week ago, a disguised Jiraiya walked around the newly rebuilt Kurigakure, wandering around the market he had found himself in while finding great difficulty in establishing a renewed spy network in the village before something caught his attention. Did you hear of the one who had defeated the tyrant? A vendor asked. One person. I thought he was brought down by an entire army. Jiraiya thought in amazement, picking up an apple from the market to listen in on the conversation. I sure did, another villager replied. Shame I couldn't have seen him before his departure. Whoever he is, he sure is a hero, the vendor replied, handing the villager an apple. They say he was a no-one. One who had just arrived the day before the tyrant's death, and one who had destroyed a large portion of the loyalist army single-handedly. Pardon me, who is this hero you speak of? Jiraiya asked. No one knows his name, all we know is that he carries a sword with a blade as red as blood while bearing a head of blonde hair. The vendor explained. Is that so? Jiraiya continued to say, putting the apple down before walking away. In any case, I do wish to meet him someday. Present time, I need to think of something quick. Had he been able to handle Yagura? Jiraiya began to think, as he tossed several smoke grenades on the ground, he'd be able to murder me with the utmost ease should he stop fooling around. Pitiable fool, Naruto thought, sensing Jiraiya's presence in the smoke only to be backhanded upon arriving at the area, it seems. I've blundered. So you do sense my chakra, Jiraiya stated as Naruto stood up again, wiping the blood drawn from his mouth. Now, how about you remove that piece of cloth around your eyes? If you claim that you know me so well. Fine, if this is what you want. I may as well allow you to wallow in your mistakes. Naruto murmured, leading to a look of confusion from Jiraiya. What are you talking about? Jiraiya questioned before his jaw dropped as Naruto discarded the cloth over his eyes. Take a look, Jiraiya. Naruto began to say, before morphing Muramasa into a pair of Tessin. Take a good, hard look. Take one look at this face. It will be the last face that you will ever betray. No, it can't be, Jiraiya murmured, hesitantly withdrawing a kunai. What's wrong, oh great sage? Naruto mocked, dashing over to attack Jiraiya with the Tessin, landing several good hits on the Sannin. Fail to recognize your mistake. Please. This isn't what your father would have wanted. Jiraiya attempted to reason, only to quickly realize that the blonde was too far consumed in his rage to negotiate when a foot was planted firmly onto his face. You could have prevented all of this. Naruto yelled, before reshaping Muramasa back into a katana and landing a slash across the white-haired shinobi's chest, but no, you were doing who knows what in who knows where. Gotta think of something, fast, Jiraiya thought, before formulating a strategy. Forgive me, Minato. Jiraiya sped through his hand seals, smearing his blood onto his palm before slamming his palm into the ground, causing a large cloud of white smoke to emerge, before being replaced by a humongous red toad that had towered over Naruto. I'm sorry, Naruto, Jiraiya all but yelled out, knowing the true weight that the blonde's true identity had held. I have failed you. You have, and you have for all time. Naruto yelled, standing against the Miv beast that had stood before him. Please, Naruto, this life is not right, for you or anyone. Jiraiya reasoned. Konoha is your home. My home. The kind of home rejects me to this extent. Naruto demanded to know, for what? For holding the Kyuubi. I hate this village more than anywhere else. And after Hokage-sama peacefully pays, I'll personally burn Konoha to the ground. Then you are lost. Jiraiya yelled back, as Naruto sensed a familiar chakra presence swiftly approaching, along with the noise of the chirping of 1,000 birds. Without showing any semblance of doubt or fear, Naruto spun around, before catching Kakashi by the wrist, halting his movements and canceling his Raikiri. I don't think so, Naruto replied, before throwing Kakashi back. Naruto, please, I understand that we have failed. Kakashi began to plead, but we just want to help you. You have missed your chance. Naruto began to say with a growl, as he held up Muramasa, but don't worry. I'll be taking mine. Don't try it, Jiraiya warned, seeing what Naruto had been planning to do. Naruto took a deep breath, before leaping at Kakashi, landing a powerful kick before using the Jonin as a kickboard to leap up towards Jiraiya, already prepared to cut clean through the Sannin without any further hesitation. Inches from Naruto's blade, Jiraiya leapt into the air, before a blue sphere of rapidly rotating chakra formed in the Sannin's palm. What the? Naruto thought, slashing past the air, slightly over the head of the toad. I've warned you, Jiraiya stated, before slamming the sphere into Naruto's back, crushing the blonde under the attack and causing large amounts of blood to exit Naruto's mouth. A few moments later, the toad vanished, as Jiraiya stood over Naruto's wounded body. Please, kid, Jiraiya pleaded once again, please, just anything. Just let me try to help you. With anything? Naruto asked, thinking back to what he had been attempting to do 2 weeks ago. Yeah, just ask for it, Jiraiya replied, intending to make amends with Naruto in whatever way he could. Alright, talk me through the most viable pathway to Hokage Mountain, Naruto requested. On the condition that you no longer act with such aggression in Konoha, Kakashi added on. Fine, Naruto accepted, before standing up, his wounds slowly healing. That night, sensing the full moon hanging in the black sky, a sky that had been illuminated by fragments of light reflected by the many stars scattered across it, Naruto slowly awoke, before turning towards Haku and waking her up. Haku softly yawned before turning towards Naruto, speaking in a groggy tone. Yes, anything the matter, Naruto-kun? Come with me for a bit, I want to show you something, Naruto replied. But it's midnight, Haku protested. Trust me, it'll be worth your time, Naruto promised, before lifting Haku onto his back. Alright, it'd better, Haku replied, her arms wrapped around the blonde as he leapt out of the open window. Leaping about for a bit, and following the route he had scouted out earlier today, Naruto arrived at the destination he had intended to go to, the Hokage Monument, landing atop his late father's head as he allowed Haku to dismount. Why are we here, Naruto-kun? Haku asked, slightly confused. Well, Naruto began to say, we're on a statue of my father's head, other than that, just wanted for you to see the amazing view here. It is rather remarkable, Haku acknowledged, looking across Konoha from a top-down view. Naruto tilted his head upwards towards the full moon overlooking them both. The moon is beautiful tonight, isn't it? Naruto asked. Haku tilted her head upward, looking up at the full blue moon up in the sky. It is rather beautiful. Well, I thought she'd get it, but I guess I can change it up, Naruto thought before continuing to speak. For the 10 years that I've lived in Konoha before I left, I've always loved coming up here, even if it were just to escape the many mobs chasing me, I'd marvel at the magnificent moon hanging above. I see, is that why this place holds such meaning to you? Haku asked, smiling softly. Well, that's one of the reasons, to me, this place used to symbolize a dream, Naruto revealed, prompting Haku to turn towards him. I used to want to be the Hokage, the best one of all time at that, but now I understand what a dream truly is. Becoming the Hokage was an achievement, a fantasy, yes, but the reason it never became a dream was because I was never meant to be the Hokage. While Haku watched him, Naruto began to slowly unwrap the cloth that had obscured his long blinded eyes. In my years as a Ronin before meeting you, I've always had a hidden desire, one which I had obscured for many years, Naruto replied, undoing the knots of the cloth and placing it in his lap, his eyes still closed. That was to look upon the moon one last time. Well, I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, I really can't help you with that, Haku replied, genuinely apologetic in her tone. Well, now that desire has shifted, and now, Naruto began to say, slowly opening his eyes. Haku placed a hand over her mouth, gasping as Naruto revealed his pair of Ketsuryugan in place of his previously blinded eyes, the blood-red pupils with a purple slit each running horizontally along them staring into hers. Now I get to share this view with you, Haku-chan, Naruto replied with a fox-like grin, for you are more beautiful than I could have ever imagined. Naruto, you can see again, Haku began to say, slightly tearing up as she placed her hand on Naruto's cheek. Naruto placed his cheek on Haku's shoulder, before hugging her waist from behind. Thank you, Haku-chan, Naruto began to say. Huh, for what? Haku asked, slightly confused. Well, Naruto began to say, before kissing Haku on her cheek, thank you for waiting for me. Finding himself in the Hokage's office, Naruto yawned before Hiruzen, ignoring the old man's stare as he rearranged his shoddily tied cloth around his eyes, not wanting anyone around him to know about him regaining his vision and still wanting to keep up the false vulnerability he presented. Might I be so bold to assume you had a rough night? Hiruzen asked, looking up from his paperwork. Well, not exactly, Naruto replied, finally sitting down at the opposite end of Hiruzen's desk. I had a good rest last night. It's just unfortunate that I couldn't enjoy it for so long, unlike Haku-chan. My apologies, Ronin, Hiruzen stated, letting Naruto know subtly that there were other individuals in the room, but I have a commission for you. Don't tell me, you want me to chase a random cat? Naruto asked jokingly. No, such a mission would be an insult to your abilities, I've got a far more. Hiruzen began to say, slowly piquing Naruto's interest in the conversation as the old man tried his best to find the right word. Dangerous, that's it, a far more dangerous mission for you. One far more befitting of your capabilities. Well, as long as the price is right, I don't see why not. Naruto replied, trying to make his point clear as his mind wandered back to Haku, the ice user not being present due to her currently sleeping in their shared bed. To place an order for your. A few of us are willing to put 500,000 ryo for this commission, Hiruzen urged, placing a bag of ryo on the desk, you can check it if you'd like. No need, I know you have no reason to lie to me, Naruto replied, taking the bag of coins as he sat upright, so. What does this mission entail? Essentially, I'd like to report a missing person case, Hiruzen explained, pulling out a handguard, one that carried a chakra signature familiar to Naruto. I believe you know who this belongs to. Did you assume that I'd be able to identify a person based on the residue chakra left on a piece of equipment? Naruto asked jokingly, holding onto the handguard to further sense the chakra upon it, Hayate Gecko. Interesting, where was he last seen? He was sent, Hiruzen began to say, before stopping upon seeing Naruto's raised hand. Could we continue in private? Naruto requested, noting the presence of others in the room. Hiruzen sighed, making a wave-like motion with his hand, prompting Yugao and another Anbu to appear next to Naruto as they knelt before Hiruzen. You called, Hokage-sama? Yugao asked, acting per Anbu doctrine by pretending not to know about the earlier conversation she had listened in on. Leave us for a few moments, dragon. Hiruzen requested. Neko, you may stay here, this mission involves you. Yes, Hokage-sama, dragon replied, nodding as he vanished from sight. Neko, you are to work in conjunction with the Ronin here, Hiruzen replied, to which Naruto gave a small wave in response. You two are to act as equal partners on this mission, neither of you shall outrank the other. Understood, Hokage-sama, Yugao stated, before turning towards Naruto. My sincerest apologies for how I acted in our first encounter, that was completely uncalled for and unprofessional. Apology accepted, Neko-san, Naruto replied, offering a hand which Neko gratefully shook. I hope we will be able to cooperate well on this task. Good to see that you two are getting along, but allow me some time to explain the mission, Hiruzen requested, turning the two participants back towards the old Hokage. This mission is to be carried out gradually, ideally over 5 days. Understood, Hokage-sama, Naruto replied, nodding his head whilst twiddling his fingers. Are there any specific tasks we are to achieve? As well as the specific rules of engagement within the realms of this mission. You two are not allowed to act against any civilian or shinobi that are not directly implicated within this mission, Hiruzen instructed, and especially not the contestants for the Chunin exam finals. He continued before ping Naruto a name list. Here's a list. Well, I'm sure it's got some beautiful handwriting on it, Naruto joked, wanting to keep his restored eyesight a secret. It's just quite a shame that, I can't see. My apologies, Naruto, Hiruzen replied as the blonde ped the list to Yugao. On that note, this meeting is dismissed, the mission begins tomorrow, good luck, you two. Thank you, Hokage-sama, Naruto replied, nodding his head as he walked out of the room. You're dismissed for today, Neko, Hiruzen stated, standing up and taking a puff from his pipe, before turning to look out of his window. Get some rest, you'll have a busy few days ahead of you. Thank you, Hokage-sama, Yugao replied, bowing slightly before she headed for the door. Another thing, Neko, Hiruzen began to say, do keep an eye on our Ronin friend, alright? Understood, Hokage-sama, Yugao urged, before walking out of the room. Hiruzen's house. 10 minutes later. Naruto slowly walked up to the front door, reaching into his pocket and retrieving his copy of the key, before unlocking the door and opening it, walking in soon after, and locking the door shut immediately after. TCH, damn it. Yugao grumbled as she looked out of her hiding spot. Sneaky bastard. Why did it feel like someone was following me? Naruto thought to himself, before disregarding it and dashing upstairs to his and Haku's room, only to find the ice user still fast asleep in their bed. Is she still asleep? Sighing softly at Haku's antics, Naruto walked towards the one window in the room, before closing the curtains, much to Yugao's ire as she watched from the rooftop of a building opposite the one Naruto was in. Does he perhaps know that I'm watching him? Yugao asked herself. No. It can't be. I haven't made a single sound since I've left Hokage-sama's office. And the girl. Did he do something to his partner? Why is she asleep? Deciding to investigate further, Yugao swiftly changed into her civilian apparel, before walking up to the front door of Hiruzen's home, knocking on it after a minute or so of preparation. Oh, for sake. Naruto mumbled as he dashed back downstairs, opening the door before turning towards the outside. Yes. Do I know you? That's a rhetorical question. Who are you? Oh, please help me. My cat climbed up a tree. Yugao made up in a fake voice, intent on tricking Naruto and sneaking into the house. Sorry. I don't help with these. Naruto began to say, narrowing his eyes under his blindfold. Mundane tasks, my apologies. I'm willing to offer compensation for the inconvenience caused. Yugao offered, bowing slightly, please. This cat means a lot to me. Alright, I'll give it a try. Naruto urged, slowly walking out of the house and towards where the tree was, allowing Yugao to sneak in as the door slowly shut. Phew, that was a close one. Yugao whispered to herself in her usual voice, slowly creeping around Hiruzen's house as she looked around. Now, to check on the girl. Nice to see you, Neko-san, Naruto stated jokingly, appearing before Yugao whilst holding Muramasa to her neck. Now, what are you intending to do with Haku-chan? You did mention her, after all. Look, Ronin-san, what have you done to your partner? Yugao questioned, making sure to be completely still, knowing that Naruto would be very willing to follow up on his threat of murdering her right there and then. I highly doubt she'd be so tired in the afternoon. Simple. We went to bed at about 5 in the morning, Naruto explained. The only reason I was up and running by 9 was mainly due to Hokage-sama waking me up. I see. My mistake. Ronin-san, Yugao apologized, but would I be allowed to check? Go ahead, Naruto replied, consenting as he led the way up to his and Haku's room. As you can see, she's asleep. Fair enough, Yugao stated, having checked on Haku moments before coming to her conclusion. My deepest apologies, Ronin-san. I seem to have misjudged you for the second time. Things just haven't been the same around here. That's fine, Neko-san, and I fully understand, Naruto urged, patting Yugao on the back as he walked out of the room after her. That's to be expected with my reputation. Well, I'll be taking my leave now. Again, I'm so sorry, Yugao apologized, before walking out of the house again. Not the encounter I expected, but oh well, I would have invited her to lunch, but it seems she's left before I could even contemplate it, Naruto mumbled to himself, before walking into the kitchen, checking on the cooked rice in the rice cooker and the marinated chicken. Well, best cook something before Konohamaru returns, or he may throw a temper tantrum. Right. Now, Naruto contemplated to himself, heating a pan at the stove before pouring in some oil, allowing it to emit tiny amounts of smoke. Do I put in the garlic and onions first? Or should the chicken go in first? Maybe I can help. Haku yawned as she walked into the kitchen, half awake as she stumbled up to Naruto. You seem to need it. Also, were you touching me just then? Something felt strange earlier. Well, not really, Naruto replied, before explaining the situation with Yugao earlier. Well, that wasn't what I was expecting to hear after brushing my teeth. Haku joked as she gently pushed Naruto out of the way and placed the onions and garlic into the pan. I guess she's just doing her job. Maybe, but I still see fit to suspect she had some ulterior motive, Naruto replied, walking towards the kettle of water he had prepared earlier. Tea. That would be lovely, Haku replied with a soft smile, as she placed the chicken into the pan after the garlic had browned and after the onions turned slightly translucent. So, it's onions and garlic that go in first? Naruto asked, brewing the tea in a pot before setting it on the counter. Well, generally, yes, Haku replied, pouring in some cornstarch and water, placing other vegetables in before using another pan as a lid, that normally brings out the flavor, or well, adds flavor to the dish. I'll be sure to keep that in mind, Naruto replied, walking closer to Haku, only to lift her and hug her close to him. Okay, let me guess. Next, you're gonna tell me how much you've missed me? Haku asked jokingly, resting her chin on Naruto's shoulder. Or are you here to ask me for permission to do something stupid? And here I thought you loved me. Naruto replied in a similarly joking tone, what's the harm in me hugging you once in a while? Well, I don't imagine hugging to involve lifting me too, but this is nice. Haku murmured. Yeah, I bet you'd want me to let you down before the chicken burns. Naruto asked, pointing towards the stove. Shit. Wait, let me down for a bit. Haku requested. Well, I'll give it a quick think. Naruto replied jokingly, before walking a few inches away from the stove. This is the best I can do. Damn it. Just let me go. Haku exclaimed, wiggling her arms and legs around in an attempt to get out of Naruto's hug. Don't worry. I got this, Naruto replied, turning it down to the lowest possible heat and opening up a small hole by moving the top pan to allow the dish to simmer. See, told you I got it. Yeah, I suppose so, Haku mumbled, looking around as Naruto pressed her against the wall. So, what's this about? Well, I suppose I'd try something new. Naruto joked as he leaned in, before claiming her lips with his, kissing her sensually as she was pinned to the wall, pulling away a good minute or so later. That wasn't too bad now, was it? Hey, didn't think you'd be such a smooth talker. Or such an innovate kisser, Haku joked, licking her lips as she tried her best to lean in closer to Naruto, her feet finally touching the ground as Naruto loosened his grip slightly. Now get over here. As Haku placed her right hand on Naruto's chin, the kitchen doors slid open as Konohamaru walked in. There you are, Konohamaru exclaimed. Hold on a second, honorable grandson. Ebisu requested, running after Konohamaru and entering the kitchen as well, eventually noticing Naruto and Haku's awkward position in the room. How dare you? How dare you two act so disrespectfully in the Hokage's home? Well, that's our problem, isn't it? Naruto questioned, slowly releasing Haku from his grasp and turning towards Ebisu, only for Haku to hug him from behind. Calm down, Naruto-kun, Haku whispered, he's just jealous, don't worry. You little, Ebisu began to yell, before immediately cutting himself off upon feeling a cold piece of metal poking the tip of his throat. Yeah, come on now, continue, Naruto taunted, pointing Muramasa against Ebisu's neck as Haku let go of the blonde and went to set up the dish she had cooked earlier. That's what I thought, Naruto stated, before withdrawing Muramasa, sheathing it again, and walking out of the kitchen with Haku. Come on, Konohamaru, get your bowl of rice. Huh, alright, Ni-san. Konohamaru replied before retrieving his bowl of rice and walking out, the stunned Ebisu waiting for Konohamaru to be seated before leaving the house. So, how was your day today? Naruto asked, placing the pot of tea in the middle of the table after pouring Konohamaru a cup. I hope it was pleasant enough. Yep, I learned a bunch of new stuff today, even if Ebisu-sensei brought me to the hot springs to learn those things. Konohamaru stated, earning a soft scoff from Naruto. Are we going to be able to train later, Ni-san? Of course, we can, Konohamaru, Naruto urged, watching as Haku finished her food before Konohamaru had even begun to eat from his bowl. Just not tomorrow, I'll be rather busy. But, alright, Ni-san, Konohamaru began to protest, only to accept the situation. Where are you going tomorrow? Haku whispered after walking up next to Naruto. I'll be on a 5-day-long mission, Naruto whispered back, gently kissing Haku on the forehead after turning towards her, causing a blush from the ice user. Don't worry, I'll be just fine. Why you'd better be, Haku whispered back, flustered by Naruto's prior act as she slowly walked back upstairs. Well, fair enough, Naruto mumbled to himself, before turning to Konohamaru, meet me at training ground 3 later, alright. Without waiting for a response from Konohamaru, Naruto stood up, before seemingly walking out of the house, only to climb into his and Haku's room through the window, where a towel was thrown onto his face. Hey, I'm changing, Haku exclaimed, walking up to Naruto and shaking him gently by the collar. Oh, my apologies. It's not like I'm blind or anything. Naruto joked with a soft smirk. Oh please, your tricks don't work on me, Haku replied, taking the towel off of Naruto's face. You think I'd take that blindfold off to prove you wrong? Well, no need for that, Naruto started to say, before slowly unraveling the blindfold, allowing him to gaze upon her beautiful half-form. Hey, I sure don't mind coming in on you more often. Very funny, Haku replied with a giggle as she quickly got dressed in a simple kimono, before being pushed against the wall. Seriously, this again? And here I thought you enjoyed it. Naruto joked again, pushing his face an inch away from hers. Well, I can't argue against that one. Haku admitted, staring into the blood-red pupils that composed Naruto's Ketsuryugan. So, what do you wanna? Unable to finish her sentence, Haku slowly wrapped her arms around Naruto, even if the blonde had pinned the ice user against the wall to kiss her, his tongue exploring her mouth as he deepened the kiss. Before too long had passed, Naruto pulled away from the sensual kiss, the two of them still staring into each other's eyes as the blonde slowly released Haku. With the two of them now invested and committed to the situation, Naruto and Haku slowly moved onto the bed, each still staring deeply into the other's eyes as the blonde pushed the ice user onto her back. Haku-chan, are you sure about this? Naruto asked, sweating slightly from the rare nervousness he felt. Please, Naruto-kun. You got me like this. Haku murmured, her face red as she began to exhale condensed breaths. Please continue. The blonde nodded, slowly readjusting his position and beginning to pull down the sides of Haku's kimono, revealing her shoulders before he removed the top part of her clothing entirely, leaving her in bandages that the ice user had fashioned into a bra. Naruto gulped softly, before leaning down and placing his hand on the bandages and beginning to unravel them, only for him to immediately take his hands off upon hearing a knock at the door. Sake. Naruto mumbled as Haku sat upright. Must this always happen whenever we try and engage in something intimate? Haku questioned rhetorically, fixing her kimono before standing up. That's Konohamaru. Just let him know that I'm at training ground 3, Naruto requested, placing his blindfold back and kissing Haku once again, before climbing out of the window and leaping towards training ground 3. And to think, we were this close, Haku thought to herself, watching as Naruto leapt away. Training ground 3, 5 minutes later. As the leaves slowly fell from the trees above him, an irritated Naruto paced around the training ground, waiting for Konohamaru whilst still thinking about the experience that he almost had with Haku. Why are you late? Naruto questioned, peering over at Konohamaru, the young boy panting heavily for air. That's not fair, Ni-san. Konohamaru protested, walking up to Naruto, you weren't here earlier. No excuses. Give me 10 laps, now. Naruto demanded. But, Konohamaru stammered, only to be cut off halfway. Did I stutter? Naruto asked with a growl, causing Konohamaru's skin to turn pale and prompting him to run off, leaving Naruto standing under the tree. That's what you get for not choosing your timing properly. Calm down, Naruto, he thought to himself. Oh, greetings, Ronin, Kakashi greeted, followed by Sasuke who also arrived on the scene. Didn't expect to see you here. Yeah, how glad I am to see the most spoiled child in shinobi history and the one-eyed pirate, Naruto scoffed, watching as Konohamaru finished his first lap. Watch your mouth, peasant scum, Sasuke stated, pointing a finger at Naruto, put down your sword, and then we'll see who the weakling is. Is that so? Naruto asked again, plunging Muramasa into the ground before turning towards Sasuke and Kakashi, the latter seeming to place the least amount of effort possible to dissuade Sasuke. You sure you want this to happen, Hatake? Well, it'd be a good training session, wouldn't it? Kakashi reasoned. Sasuke is going to be fighting that Gaara kid for the Chunin exam finals next week, so he could do with some new tricks. That is if you have any you're willing to teach. Oh please, I'd teach him a valuable lesson for free. Naruto urged, cracking his knuckles before turning towards Sasuke. Turn on those Sharingan of yours, and come at me. Why, looking to lose a fight? Sasuke asked back, smirking to himself as he activated his Sharingan and slipped